Gaza. Well, as the military action has continued, there have been weeks of intense diplomatic talks looking for a solution to the ongoing situation. Israel's facing increasing pressure for restraint, even from the US, which has backed Israel from the beginning of this conflict. For more on this now, we can go live to the US, to Washington, where we're joined by Dan Arbel, former senior Israeli diplomat and scholar in residence at the Center for Israeli Studies at the American University. Mr. Arbel, thank you very much for being with us. We heard earlier on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking in a press conference, staunchly defending his country's military activity, saying it will continue until the operation is over, until Israel has won this war. Meanwhile, we are seeing Arab and Muslim leaders and many others around the world calling for, as we've mentioned, diplomacy. Is Israel going to listen to them and pursue diplomatic options, do you think?
So listening to the Prime Minister tonight and to Israeli public opinion, I do believe that Israel will continue with its ground operation until it achieves its goals of destroying Hamas military infrastructure, targeting its leadership, and seeking the release of Israeli hostages. I don't think that Israel is going to heed to the calls at this point by the international community to opt for a ceasefire. There was a ceasefire on October 6th before this all started, which was breached by Hamas. And again, Israel is determined to push ahead, as I see it, despite international calls for a ceasefire until it achieves its goals.
In Israel, pushing ahead, as you mentioned, in its military activity, civilians are being harmed. That includes children. More than 4,000 children. Guesses can kind of vary between the exact numbers, have been killed since the start of this military action. Do you think Israel is doing enough to protect civilians?
Yeah, first of all, it's a great tragedy, and I do believe that Israel is doing its utmost to protect civilians. I do hear that, first of all, there are the IDF is ensuring safe passage from the north to the south. It is also in touch with different elements in the Shifa hospital to ensure exit from the Shifa hospital towards southern Gaza. You know, it's a very complex and very, in a war situation in which it's very hard to, when you operate. But I do believe that Israel is doing its utmost to protect civilians, innocent civilians, as much as.
This is a highly complex situation, as you say. Israel has accused Hamas of using civilians as human shields. It's accused Hamas of using tunnels underneath hospitals from which to base their military operations. But Hamas is considered by many to be a terrorist organisation. It's activity like this that gives it that categorisation. Israel is a nation state. It is expected to hold itself to higher standards. Do you think it is doing enough to hold itself to those high standards?
First of all, regarding the Shifa hospital, we need to remember, and this was revealed by several sources, including BBC, that there is Hamas headquarters underneath the hospital. And Hamas is using Palestinians as human shields around the hospital. And so it's very, very, and whoever's trying to leave is threatened by Hamas or is shot by Hamas. So I do believe that, first of all, Hamas is cynically using these innocent civilians to protect its headquarters. Second, Israel is a state and it's facing a non-state actor which attacked it on October 7th without any provocation. And so Israel is responding to that and is conducting a war as we speak. So again, in a war, unfortunately, there is collateral damage. And often innocent civilians are hurt. But as far as I assess the situation, I think that Israel is doing, is addressing this matter and is trying, it's not targeting innocent civilians, and it's definitely trying to ensure the safe passage of as many innocent Palestinians as it can from the north to the south of the Gaza Strip.
Benjamin Netanyahu has also addressed Hezbollah, of course, to Israel's north, based in Lebanon. He's warned that they are playing a dangerous game, potentially getting involved in this conflict, and has warned that Beirut could face a fate similar to Gaza. How concerned are you about this conflict seriously spreading to Israel's north and bringing Lebanon into the fold?
Well, it is a concern, and I don't think that Israel wants to open a front with Hezbollah. It doesn't seem that Hezbollah at the moment wants an active front with Israel. But a lot will depend at the end on Iran, because Iran calls the shots when it comes to Hezbollah. And if Hezbollah gets its marching orders from Iran to go on the attack, then it may do so. What we're seeing now is a low-intensity confrontation, but it's not crossing a red line at the moment. But any provocation or miscalculation by any of the sides could lead to an escalation and to a flare-up if it's not contained properly.
Okay, Dan Arbel, former senior Israeli diplomat and scholar in residence at the Center for Israeli Studies at the American University. Mr. Arbel, thank you very much for being with us.
Good evening. Thanks.